Greetings, comrade captains. Sea Raptor here with another World of Warships replay. This time in the German Tier 10 cruiser, Hindenburg. Now, this is a little bit of self-promotion. This replay is actually me. I ended up playing a game just last night in my Hindenburg that I wanted to show you guys and kind of extol some of the virtues of this particular cruiser. We're here on Tears of the Prophets, divvied up with an Ibuki and a Fletcher. That's Belgarath the Sorcerer and Hushubao. You can see here we're kind of starting on the south end of the map. Now, I gotta kind of help you understand how I play my Hindenburg. I do have a 15-point captain in this ship, okay? But I do not have Concealment Expert. And I've been playing around with this particular captain skill build lately. I have Basic Firing Training, Situational Awareness, Expert Marksman, Superintendent, Advanced Firing Training, and Manual Fire for AA. Now that sounds a little strange, and it is. I've built my Hindenburg intentionally to try and be a generalist. You can see along the bottom I carry Hydroacoustic Search, so I can root DDs out of smoke and avoid torpedoes. But I want to be able to contribute significantly to AA defense when necessary. And without defensive fire, just your base AA skills. Hindenburg's base AA is really good. But I wanted something extra. So since last weekend, I've been playing around with manual fire for AA, and I've been enjoying it. So that's where I'm at right now. For my modules, the big things to know is that I have taken concealment module to lower my detectability to about 14 kilometers, and I do take the rate of fire module on my Hindenburg. In fact, all my high tier German cruisers, both Rune and Hindenburg, that can take it, I take the rate of fire module. I'm not a big believer in the range. I don't think they need the range, but the rate of fire with these guns is just so sexy. If you've been paying attention in chat, we've been having a little bit of conversation. People have asked me, "Oh, how's the Hindenburg?" And I love this ship. I feel like this is the best tier 10 cruiser in the game. So as the match shapes up here, we kind of start to angle south. If you look at the teams, Matchmaker is a bit strange on this one. There's only one battleship on each side. That is highly unusual. So I'm going to kind of have to, I realized early on I'm going to kind of have to fill the role of a little bit of a pocket battleship even without battleship guns. I'm trading fire with an enemy Rune here fairly early on. We're both slinging AP at long range. Not much going on just yet. You may have seen that Iowa pop up on my starboard side. He took some pot shots at me, but those all sailed way long. Ah, nice hit early. Excellent. So, Bell is pushing around the south end of this island, and I'm trying to support him against this Rune. I know that if this Rune ends up close to him, that it's going to end badly. It looks like, if you paid attention a minute ago, you saw the crit. I knocked out this Rune's engine. You can see his smokestack on fire there when I zoom in. So I realized that I missed a shot there. I led him too far. I'm trying to angle away here while getting shots to drop in on him. That one didn't do much, but he's essentially stationary at this point. So I slow way down, trying to throw his aim off a little bit, and an enemy Benson pops up. So now Bell's got something else to deal with. And basically we're on comms, and I'm telling him, let me handle the Rune, you deal with the Benson. He's got a friendly Fletcher down there, and another Benson here just behind me is coming in to help. So I'm staying focused on this Rune while my teammates handle on the destroyer. I've gotten some good salvos in on this Rune, but the angle means they're not as good as they could be. I'm continuing south, and he's well angled away from me. He's going to get his radar up here shortly. This Benson pops up. I turn and take a pot shot at him, not expecting to get much out of it. Rune is repairing, but watch this hit on the Benson. 9K, all AP. So, people talk about not throwing AP rounds at destroyers. Man, that's craziness. That's crazy talk. German AP is outstanding at wrecking destroyers who give you a nice big old fat broadside, so don't be afraid. Don't feel like you have to switch to HE. I'm about to try the same trick on this other Benson here in the middle of the map, but he's going to die before my shots get there. Hoosh is going to take him out with some well-placed HE rounds right there. And that's the first kill of the match. He actually ends up detonating. New Orleans at long range, but he's out of my range, so that's not going to help. So Bell has spotted these torpedoes that someone has laid out for me, so I'm going to slow down as I come around the bottom of the island and keep pressure on this Rune. This Rune is still showing me a pretty good profile, but the range is long. This is still 16 clicks, and you can see the plunging fire on those German AP shells means that I'm going to do damage, but I'm probably not going to get big citadels way out here. Benson pops up again, and he's got 3 different friendly destroyers shooting at him, and I'm just going to leave them to him. Benson finally goes down. Keeping pressure on this Rune. The New Orleans is just edging my range, but I don't know what he's doing over there. If you look at the minimap, he's going to be in a goofy position momentarily. So I'm staying on this rune. I'm focused. You can see there's another Benson that's been lurking in the area. Last seen in F2. And I think Hoosh and the other destroyers are going to try and root that guy out. This rune is putting up a great fight. I'm getting good damage on him, but between his angle, the range, the speed variances he's going through, I'm not able to really land a solid killing blow. The damage is steady, right? He's gotten one heal off, and he's gonna get another one off shortly. I look at the map and realize I'm pushing too far. I don't want to be here. I want to cut back into the center. So I start to flip and take my stern guns out of action for a couple of salvos while I get pointed back in. I don't want to turn too far. I'm going to end up exposing myself to this rune. He seems pretty focused on our destroyers. But I'm trying to get him off the board for a lot of different reasons. That was a terrible shot. The nice thing about Hindenburg's guns, though, is they reload so quickly. It's like, that was a bad one. I'll just get the next one. So as he turns, I realize I'm going to lose a good salvo with my AP, so I swap to HE. So this next salvo here is HE. Swapping back to the AP as he continues the turn. I wasn't sure if he was going to stay angled to me or not. Solid damage out of the AP salvo. And here we go. Finally going to get this guy. Ugh. Took far longer than it should have. He put up a great fight. So we've pretty much cleared them out of the end of the map. You can look at the mini-map here and see we pretty much solidly own the entire southwestern quadrant of this map. We had a New Orleans, it looks like, and a Tirpitz that had tried to push north. They've been turned around. They're now heading speedily back towards our cap circle. And the enemy fleet is pretty much concentrated along the sea line towards the center of the map. So what's going to happen now is basically we're going to push towards their cap circle, because you can tell that the Iowa has been lurking back there, their lone battleship. Both of the battleships really haven't contributed very much to this entire fight. And we're going to push up to the southern edge of their circle. Our destroyers are going to get pretty aggressive and try and push these guys out, and I'm going to move up and work with them to try and keep these destroyers and battleships and cruisers off of them, because, well, our Tirpitz is well out of the action for the moment. The enemy carrier is air superiority spec, and he has not accomplished very much. I mean, he's shooting down planes, but he's not really contributing a whole lot to their damage. He is doing some spotting. I'm a little surprised he's pulling his fighters back here and not continuing to spot that Shimakaze in the center. So as this rune pushes into the cap circle, I'm going to start in on him. Again, the range is long. I'm not expecting to get much out of these rounds. My goal here is mainly just to kind of, discourage him. But what's really discouraging him is this gearing sitting just south of the cap circle and just throwing HE shells at him in copious quantities. That's what really convinces him to turn around. He may have even had popped his hydro and seen that torpedo spread. I don't know. But I'm really not going to get good shots on him now. I don't really have good shots on the New Orleans. So we'll keep pushing up here a little bit. One of the things about replays that bugs me is you don't see all the squadrons that I'm clicking on. I told you guys I have manual fire for AA, and I do, but you can't see in the replay that I'm actually clicking on these squadrons to focus my AA in and try and clear some of these fighters out so the destroyers can work. The rune is still in good range, but with these angles, it's hard for me to get good shots on him. Again, I'm doing damage. It's just not a significant amount of damage. 2, 3, 4K here and there. As we land some overpens and some regular pens. I'm trying to get this guy off the board, but he just refuses to die. See, that looks like a great salvo. Just like, oh, it's... So eventually what's going to happen is the gearing pulls out of his smoke cloud. You can see on the minimap that Hoosh and Bell have kind of turned back towards the 5 line. It looks like some of their cruisers are trying to push in from that direction. They're trying to discourage these guys. And I want to hold the line. I don't want this Iowa to get adventurous and decide he wants to push up. So to that end, I decide, all right, enough of this. This rune's not going to give me a shot, but I've got a beautiful flat broadside on this Iowa. Let's start in on this guy and see if I can't whittle him down and convince him he wants to stay back there or at a minimum be somewhere else. He's kind of worked himself into a corner. He doesn't really have any other places to go. The New Orleans, for an instant, looks like he's turning in, but then by the time I get this rounds down range, look at that, 11,500. damage on the Iowa. The time I get the rounds out on the New Orleans, not so great. Really good salvo on the Iowa, though. I mean, 11,500 damage on a battleship. That's a battleship hit, and here I am doing it with a Tier 10 cruiser. Trying to provide some air cover for the destroyers. And as the Iowa angles himself in, I'm really not going to get many good more shots on him, and I realize that this Khabarovsk now has come back to play D, and to defend his cap, and that's going to be a problem. I've got to try and kill this guy if I can. So I get my guns turned around and start trying to focus him. But as anybody who's shot at one of these things knows, leading them is tricky. A well-driven Khabarovsk is very difficult to hit, especially if the captain is awake. And Captain Dindu over there is definitely awake and playing a good game. I probably should have switched to HE at this point. This is something I realized later on watching this replay, is that I am getting hits, but because they're AP, I'm not really doing anything. I need to be trying to knock out his modules, get his engine, or something along that nature. And I'm just not doing it. This Baltimore's moved in too close for comfort. I realize Bell has highlighted this to me, and I'm like, okay, let's get this guy off the board. He turns, I get a little bit of damage, but Bell's torpedoes are going to finish him off here in just a moment. I look back, this Mogami's giving me a great shot at, what is that, 12 kilometers? Beautiful. Oh, just a bit over. Both he and the Khabarovsk decided I look delicious and are trying to work me over here. They kissed there as they passed by going the other way. Mogami had angled in there momentarily, so I decided to put a salvo on the Khabarovsk, and now I've lost the Mogami in the smoke. He's all over the place. He's hard to hit. It's driving me crazy. This Mogami, though, is ballast pointed at an island. He's got to turn some way. What's he going to do? He's going to flare out, and now he's mine. Here we go. This is going to be a great salvo. Bam. 2 citadels, 15,000 damage. I'm going to get one more off just before he ducks behind the island. Bam, one more citadel, a few more penetrations. His enemy fighters have chased some torpedo bombers back over me, and I'm just clicking on them, just trying to kill them. I'm almost oblivious to the air war because the enemy carrier just has almost no offensive punch at all. So essentially what we've done now is, the enemy team has been forced to come back and play defense. We have a fairly good lead here, 200 or so points. Well, yeah, still 200-ish points. And I've been kind of hanging around here on the F line, pressuring their cap while the destroyers do their thing and try to play, but we have not been successful in pushing them off their own cap circle yet. As this rune flips, I'm like, yes, he's going to turn, I'm going to get him. I lead him a little bit, rounds out. Oh, this is a beautiful salvo. This is it. I'm going to finally knock this guy off the board. There it is. Oh, good damage, but not the big citadels I was hoping for. I turned a little too far there and only got my stern guns on him, so by the time I got that second salvo off, he was angling back the other way. I'm a little too far south now. I realize I've got to turn back around to get kind of back into the action. Enemy New Orleans in the cap, low health. Got to try and get this guy off the board. Gearing's shelling the crap out of him. I'm trying to put rounds on him. Bell's trying to put rounds on him. I knock out one of his guns temporarily. That's not the hit I was looking for. Runes on low health. Somebody got the New Orleans. Excellent. Friendly carrier got the New Orleans. Outstanding. Runes on 200 HP. Look at this. And it's about this time that I look up and realize, hey, the Tirpitz has joined us. Now things start to get interesting. The Iowa has moved back into a position to play defense. And I can now, he's giving me a good broadside. I can put some good salvos into this guy, get some solid damage. There's 5K. The Tirpitz just hit him pretty good. There's another 2K. Another 27. So he's trying to turn away, but he's slowed down there to make his turn. I'm trying to push back up and get this rune under my guns again, but he's still about a half click outside my range. It's driving me crazy. So now most of our team is concentrated over here. We've got 2 destroyers, the Tirpitz, and myself. And they're down to the Iowa that we can see, the Rune, who's essentially dead. Yep, there he goes. Bell gets him. The Khabarovsk, we knows there. He just popped up again. And that Mogami. The Mogami disappeared. He's holding his fire, being stealthy. Not sure what he's up to. So this is one of those criticisms I realized later on. I should have swapped to HE right here to try and put these rounds in on the Khabarovsk. I mean, if I hit him hard, great, but what I need to do is be trying to knock out his modules, slow him down, give other ships a better chance to hit him as well. Iowa had turned back just for a minute to give me a good broadside. A little bit more damage. He's on fire. Torpedoes chasing him. He's bugging out. So I start to turn, and I realize that I'm very exposed to this Iowa. He obviously notices, because here come the rounds. Stern gun first for a pen, and the forward guns shortly thereafter. I take about 10,000 damage and have to burn my second heal. So it could have been a lot worse. That's not a position you want to find yourself in as a cruiser. I kind of lucked out there. Puts more rounds down on range on him. He's clearly not in a position to do much in terms of defense. And we're finally now, we've got the Tirpitz in the cap circle, the Gearing's moved up into the cap, and we are finally, have pushed them back far enough to start capping. Mogami has popped up again. I'm trying to provide a little air cover here for this Tirpitz. Oh, Bell just bought it. Long-range Terps off the Khabarovsk. Shot at a few bombers there trying to play air cover for the Tirpitz. You can see the smoke over there. The Khabarovsk has obviously decided to sit still. Iowa's flipped back. I've got some shots on him. The saga of Osine Tanker in this Tirpitz here is actually kind of frightening. If you watch him over the next few minutes, he comes very, very close to dying, but he polishes off the Iowa. I can't see the Khabarovsk, but the Mogami is the Mogami. I think the Mogami is sitting still. I flip the camera over and click on that cruiser squadron. I mean the fighter squadron. Yeah, Mogami's literally sitting still, so this is like free damage. He's DC'd or tabbed out, decided just throw it in the towel, whatever. He's not going anywhere. We're just going to polish him off for free points. So you can see the game's winding down. They're down to the Lex and the Khabarovsk, and that is essentially it. Now, what I should have probably done was point my bow in at the Khabarovsk, bring my Hydro online, and go root him out and end this. What I end up doing is chasing the carrier. It's kind of, I suppose it's a bit of damage padding here, just like why not end this game? We're going to cap. They pretty much can't stop us from winning at this stage of the game. But I figured between the Gearing and the Tirpitz, they had that Khabarovsk handled. And they do get him in the end. I'm not going to pan over, but I'll tell you that at one point, shortly after the Khabarovsk dies, the Tirpitz is on 21 hit points. That's how close to death he comes before he can finally manage to get the fire and the flooding and everything else under control, and keep his ship afloat. It is razor close. So there's not much else to talk about in this game here. The Lexington is running. We're all eventually gonna pound this guy down, and he is gonna die, and that's gonna be the end of it. You can see here again, people mock German HE. These rounds aren't too bad, and come next patch, they're going to be a little better. So I'm looking forward to that greatly. Tirpitz gets a few rounds in on the Lex. His bombers are going over there probably trying to polish off the Tirpitz. But by that point, he actually had repaired some. He was back up to 6,000 to 7,000 hit points by the time those bombers came in for him. And this should end it. All right. So, battle summary. 658,000 credits, Confederate and high caliber, 8,000 XP, almost 300 shell hits, only 5 citadels out of all that, but a significant chunk of damage, 3,452 base XP. This is easily my highest experience game when you add all the multipliers in. It came out over 5,000, so that's I'm very happy with that. Damage totals: 161,000 AP damage, 38,000 out of HE, and about 16,000 there in fire. Most of that coming towards the end there, as we just burned down that Lexington. So hope you enjoyed that game. That's a good showcase of what Hindenburg is capable of, particularly when you work to maximize her strengths and minimize her weaknesses. In the process of getting together my outline of how I'm going to put together my German cruiser videos, so I hope you'll subscribe and stay with me. I've got a lot of good stuff coming as we go through the line. I was going to start those next week. They're going to get pushed back a smidge because of they're making changes to the German cruiser line. Most of it around AA, but there's a couple of new hulls along the way, so I'm gonna probably delay those a little longer than I had planned. But I'll get that started just as soon as I can. See you next time.